guys, this is Bobby with Bobby Stamps, and I have another card with a new technique that I have never tried before until I did this card. So our card opens this way, and I will tell you it's using wax paper, and it's the wax paper technique, wax paper resist, emboss resist. I'm not sure what the actual name of it is, but I love how you get a different look on each card. And I'm going to show you a whole bunch where I kind of tested and did some things. So this one, one of the videos I watched a lot of YouTube videos trying to figure this technique out. And a lot of the people would crinkle up the wax paper. I did not do it on this one, and I like that look better because I feel like you put this through an embossing folder, and I'll show you that as we move along. But I feel like when I did that with the embossing folder, I lost, and this is just a piece where I just ripped up the wax paper and laid on there just to see what you would get. This one I used the floral embossing folder, and again I crinkled it up, and you can see I really lost the image. The lighter the colors, you can see with the pineapple punch, it didn't really show up. This one I really crinkled a lot. I couldn't even tell you what embossing folder I used. And there again, this was when I was crinkling, and that is the soft sea foam. And then this one turned out a little bit better, but the ink is darker. So as you can see with the Melon Mambo, that's the same, the 10 tile embossing folder, you get a much more good image if you don't crinkle. And these I did not crinkle, so you can kind of see. I think this one I lightly did, but these two I did not crinkle, and you can really get a better image, I feel, if you don't crinkle the wax paper. So I'm using the Lovely Is the Day stamp set. This is on the retired list. As the day that I made this video, it's not going to post for several weeks, but it was still available. And then it comes with the Lovely Leaves dies. I just started playing with this in my stamp room. I just actually pulled it out one day. I'm also using the Stitch So Sweetly dies, and I fell in love with it. And so when I seen it on the retired list, I was heartbroken. I'm going to also use the Parisian Flourish 3D embossing folder, and then I'm also going to use the Ornate Floral embossing folder. And so I'll show you. So what I've done is I've cut a piece of wax paper that's 6 by 6. You want your wax paper to be a little bit bigger than your cardstock that you're going to use. So this is just basic Whisper White cut at 4 by 5 1/4. And I'm just going to lay it right here. I'm going to put my towel down just because I want to protect my work surface. So let me unfold my clean towel that I just went and got for this project. Okay, let me make sure my towel isn't going to slide off. I have my iron right here beside me, so I'm trying desperately not to burn myself. So you're just going to take the wax paper, and you're going to put your 2 pieces of cardstock right on top. So you're going to put your wax paper in between. No, we're not. Hold on a second, you guys. I'm totally forgetting a step. We are going to run this through the embossing folder first. Getting ahead of myself. Okay, let me move all this. I'm trying not to burn myself on my iron. Okay, let's move this out of the way. Switch out the plates. I have some die cutting, so I have all my paper laying over here. So I'm just going to take this and run this through the embossing folder. Okay, and you don't, this would be the step then where you would crinkle it if you wanted that crinkled look. I don't, so I'm not going to. So let me grab my towel back. So now we'll take the wax paper, put it between both pieces of the cardstock, take a piece of copy paper. I have my iron on, and it's set on high. And I will tell you, you do need to And I probably shouldn't have used this with the ink on it. I totally forgot about that. It does come through and it will transfer on your cardstock. So I might have to totally redo this if that happens. I try to recycle and use as much as I can in my craft room and not be wasteful, and so I print out my PDFs, so I'll have a copy, and if I make a mistake and I have to go back in and reprint one, I don't want to throw that paper away because I can always use it for embossing, to catch my embossing. But as you can see, it transferred, but I'm going to use it because it transferred it on the back side, and I'm just using it for this demonstration anyway. I'm not going to give this to anybody. Let me turn my heat or my iron off, and then I'm going to put up that cord so I can kind of move it across the room. I don't want to get burned. Move that out of the way. And then when you take those up, make sure that you're putting the design side up, because you're not going to know which side is up when you go to sponge your design on there, because it's, you can kind of see it. I don't know if you guys can even see it on there, but it's kind of, but you're going to get two for the price of one. So now I'm gonna grab a new piece of paper. Okay, this time I was smart and I got one that is only on the other side, but it doesn't matter because we're not using heat. Okay, as soon as I put the iron down, I was like, oh no, I remember now. You shouldn't use any with ink because the ink transfers. So I'm just going to take my Highland Heather ink, and I'm going to take a sponge, and I'm just going to ink this up, and then just start lightly putting the ink on the paper. And then you can see the image start to come through. And I just think it's so pretty when you can see. And see, if I would have had, and I think that's pretty right there, just doing that subtle light ink. But I'm going to go just a little bit darker than that. And you just want to go all the way over it. And I do like it when you get some areas darker than the other, so you have a little bit of variation in your color. But I like a lot of color on mine, so I'm just going to keep going until I get it the shape that I want it. And then you can also take a paper towel if you want to, and you can go over the top of it when you're done. So like now, you could take a paper towel and go over the top of it to get the ink that's on the surface, to get that off. But I'm okay. I'm not gonna worry about it. So I'm gonna move this off to the side. And we do have to emboss. I have a piece of gorgeous grape, and we're going to emboss with the ornate embossing folder, the one I showed you, the ornate floral 3D embossing folder. So I'm going to emboss that piece. And just put that there. Okay, let's ink up our flower. And I'm just using Tuxedo black ink. And we'll stamp that down. Stamp this one down. Move that out of the way, and then I need to grab a couple more of the images. So we need the leaves. Put that on a block. And then the inside of the flower is what we're looking for next. Let me find a small block for that. And I will show you on my card. Let me put this one on this one. I hate to use that big, but I got a smaller block. I'll show you on my card. So on this one, I stamped off and then stamped that little center. And on this one, I just stamped the center, the bigger center, not the middle one. And I'll show you what I mean. And you could use your Stamparatus if you have one. I have one, but I'm just not going to use it. So I'm using soft seafoam ink, and I'm just going to get this lined up. This has been a minute since I've done this card. Hopefully that's good. And this is one of those too where you can be off a little bit. It does not have to be perfect. But if you wanted it as close to perfect as you could get it, you would definitely want to use your Stamparatus. Okay, and then, so I'm going to take the bigger one, and this one, let me find my scrap piece of paper that we used to blend on. So this one I'm going to stamp off, and then just stamp the center. And then this one I'm not going to stamp off, and I'll just stamp the center so you guys can see the difference. So this one is going to be, if I don't put the center in, this one I'm going to ink it up and not stamp off, and just stamp that tiny little center right there. And you could even stamp the center on this one, and you really can't see it because it's the same amount of ink basically that we just put on there. Let me grab my Big Shot. Move that out of the way. Okay, let me move my blocks. They're kind of in the way. And we will die cut these out. I'm going to grab some washi tape. I'm just making sure I have the top of the flower and then the bottom of the flower lined up where I need it. I'm going to turn it that way because that paper was wider than the Big Shot. And I'll just pick this up and pop it right there. Hopefully I can use that washi tape again. And we'll just line it up. Okay. Move this out of our way. And let's grab our card base. And I'm just going to put it together with some snail. I think I'm going to score that to get that to lay down a little bit. Okay. Just put that right in the center. Now this gorgeous grape piece, I used Tombow on the original. On this one, I'm going to pop it up a little bit. And we'll just see what the difference is. I kind of like to do that, mix it up once in a while and give you options. And you could use more Stampin' Dimensionals if you want to, but I'm okay with 4. Did I already take that one off? Must have. And then we'll just put this right in the center. And I'll show you at the end the difference. Let's take these 2 flowers. I'm going to stamp my sentiment really quick and then we can figure out our placement. So let's grab that, and I'm just going to ink it up in the Memento Black. And then we're just going to stamp it right in the center. And so what I did when I designed it was I put this down first where I knew I wanted it to go, and then I kind of did the placement. Let's put our Stampin' Dimensionals on the back, and that way we won't have to take them out 1,000 times to try to find the placement that we want. I'm trying to find my piercing tool because I'm going to use some of the mini dimensionals right here, and we'll do one right there. I'm not too worried about, you can get one right there, but you must be very careful because that is a very thin area. So I'm going to put one there. And again, I'll put one right there. You don't want them to stick out through the back. So I'm going to place this right where I know I want it to go, in the middle of my card. And then I'm going to just tuck these back behind there. And I kind of wanted them staggered a little bit. I'm going to pop this up on dimensionals first. So I'm going to use 2. I'm going to go ahead and put this one down first. This is what I did when I designed it, so I could figure out. So just make sure, I wanted this to make sure I had this centered. Peel these off. Okay. And then this one I'm going to put up just a smidge higher. I still want to make sure I have it down behind that flower, or the sentiment. And then this one we're going to put down just a smidge lower. So you can just kind of do something like that with that one. Okay, and then I'll show you the difference. Let me put my lid on my Tombow. So, and I'll hold it up close and show you. So this one, I don't know if you can really see the difference in the one that's popped up. It's slightly a little bit different, and I do think I like it better when it's raised just a little bit better. But there you guys go. That is my wax paper technique. I hope that you guys like it. I thought it was very fun, and let me know if you guys are going to give it a try. Please hit the like button and the subscribe button, and if you want to find out when I upload videos, you can hit the little bell. I do post videos twice a week to YouTube. Thanks, guys.